The purpose of this video is to show the purchase orders spreadsheet specifically for Sartox customers. This is the Settings tab, and this one is for the schools where the department to select is. This would say FIN if you're a finance user or your particular department. This is your fiscal year, and this is particularly helpful if you'd like to go back several years and see what was ordered. So no more searching in file cabinets to look through old purchase orders. You can just change that to previous fiscal years and go back in time to search for something that's been ordered in the past. The current fiscal year will show up and change to the new fiscal year starting July 1st. The PO status you can change to just open if you so choose, but otherwise you will see all of the POs coming in. And you can also choose here a date range if you so choose. Then you would hit the refresh button. You'll be prompted probably for your user ID and password. And then you will land on the Purchase Orders tab here. So what you'll see is your purchase order number, your line item number, your vendor name, the description of what you ordered, the date of the PO, the requisition number, if applicable, your e-procurement reference number, and the account code that it was paid out of. And notice here is your PO status with a little legend of I is invoiced, C is cancel, H is hold, and O is open. So I can filter and just look at the open POs. And now selecting all of them again. The purchase order amount, the invoiced amount, and any remaining balance. So if I search for no remaining balance, that should equal to those open POs, and it does. So I can then, this time, select filters on and off and look at all of my POs. So I have show hide. This is just the same in every one of our spreadsheets. We have show hide, we have sort, and we have subtotals. So if you notice, our sort button is selected for our purchase order number, so they are in order here. What we'll also see here is we could search for a certain item. Like I said before, you could go back in time and see, but what's even better to do is to look at the details behind a certain PO. So if we look at PO number 4, it's for your whole entire year of your supplies. So this is for 2017-18 supplies. If we go back in details and we look at PO number 4, look at the details here. There's line item details for all of the things that were ordered at Staples. So this might be a better way of searching for something. For instance, if you were trying to reorder a book, so you could type in the word book. And see here, a teacher came to you and said, would you please reorder a particular book? And then you could find out what it is. You could find out the vendor item number, the commodity code. There's also a button here in the upper left that's a commodity code lookup. So you can use that for commodity code lookup. You can filter here and you could look for instance, book or paper. And then this would be everything for paper. In this case, there's not adding machine paper. We can try computer paper. So it might be in there differently. Computer paper. Let's look and see. So we can look down the list and see how that might be in here. We can do our filters on and off. We might go back to our details here and look for how paper might be ordered here. In this case, let's look at what was ordered here. There's paper. It doesn't look like computer paper was ordered, but here's 8.5 by 11 paper, and there is the commodity code. So you'd be able to look and learn your commodity codes at the same time, and then you could look up your commodity codes. So this is a very helpful thing. Here's your details tab, and your purchase orders is back here. So your details really is where you might want to search, because there's many more details here based on your PO number, which is going to list out many more line items here. So as we scroll down, you can see PO number 8 has this many line items. Okay, so your PO number 8 is just going to be listed out once over here, but here on your details tab, we'll list out many line items here. Okay, so here on this screen, on your purchase orders tab, you will have the vendor information. So up in the upper right hand corner, we have show and hide. So if I click on vendor information, I'll be able to go and look, and this is just like your online Rolodex. So I can look, and if I need to call vendors or they call me, I can see where they're located. I have address, city, state, zip, their phone number, their fax number, any MBE code I may need, and vendor numbers. So that is very handy. Now what happens is it will show up in blue, number 1, and number 2, it pushes the information over. So down in the lower right hand corner, I will need to slide the slider bar back over so that I can then uncheck it, and I'm back to my view, or I could have clicked original view and it would have unchecked vendor information for me. There's also who entered the PO or who approved it, the shipping and tax information, and you can see that is also showing up in blue, and it also pushes that show hide over to the right as well. So anytime that we are showing things to you, there's not enough to show you on the whole screen. So you can just click, in this case, I'll click the original view instead of unchecking shipping tax. So we've looked at the details tab. That is where we could do a search for what we're going to order. There's the item numbers and the commodity codes, which we can then look up. And we could do a text search of that. You saw earlier how it's kind of hard to find things in there, so it may be more helpful to look at just what you've ordered in the past. You can do some subtotaling, but what may be very helpful is to use your purchase order pivot table. When you get to a time of year, usually March and April, your finance office, if you're a school or department, will say you need to start closing out your open POs. So one of the things that you can do is you can run this report, open POs by location. So I'm going to do that one in the middle, the first button, open POs by location. So my location is 304. It puts in my program code, my POs that are open, the vendor name, what it's about, a little description about it, the vendor date, the date of the PO, the PO amount, and the actual invoiced amount, and the remaining balance. So these are the ones that I'll need to handle as I go to my AS400 and get into Sunpack and start closing these out. Now, maybe I don't need to see everything, so I could just drag this column up. I know I'm at location 304. I don't need to see that. So then I could slide this over. I could slide this over. Maybe I would like to see the vendor number. So I'm going to look up here in this column A, and I don't see the vendor number, so I'm going to right mouse click up here. I'm going to go to show field list. I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to look for the vendor number, and there it is. It's in gray, not black, which means I can just drag it down to the report and put it with a T-bar where I would like to have the vendor number on my report. There is the vendor number. I don't need a subtotal, so I can just double click on the column heading and say no subtotal. And now I have a really nice report that I can then print. I'm going to slide this over. The PO number does not take up much space. And then I'm going to do a full screen print view. Printing that. If I close the print preview, I can see my paper edge. I always like to do a print preview to make sure that everything that I said print will fit on a piece of paper. So there's the edge of the paper. So that is a perfect way that I can close out my open POs by running that. So this is a very handy way to come here and look at my open POs. I can also go back and just click the original pivot table view, and this is a great list. I'm going to click my blue button which says show grid lines. The show grid lines button is a very nice button to give me easier readability here. I'm going to click the full screen print view. That removes everything from the top, and I could print this list. This is every single vendor that I have dealt with this year, the POs that have been spent, the invoices, and any remaining balance. So of course the remaining balance ones are my open POs. So that is a very nice handy report that just comes in automatically. That is the one that we started with when I hit the original pivot table view. And don't forget about your helpful information. There is always great information on the helpful information tab that's available for you to review about using your purchase orders spreadsheet. Thank you for watching.